So for our next segment of today's show, I'm very excited to welcome in attorney Steve Horenstein. Steve joined in the spring of 2022 Schwabe, which is a Pacific Northwest regional law firm. Hi, Steve. Welcome to the Ask the Law Firm Seller Show. It's great to see you.
Likewise, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So, Steve, before we start asking some questions about you and HLG team members joining Schwabe in the spring of 2022, could you just share with us some biographical information about yourself and about the Horenstein Law Group before you joined Schwabe?
I'd be happy to, Jeremy. I've been practicing law for 46, 47 years now. It's kind of become who I am rather than what I do. I left a large Northwest law firm, Miller Nash, in about 15 years ago to form Horenstein Law Group, which was a boutique business and real estate, broadly speaking, law firm consisting of about 6 lawyers and a couple of paralegals, and did it for until I decided I needed to develop a plan to wind down my practice over a period of time.
Got it. And as we got to intimately know, HLG developed a strong real estate law presence in Clark County, Washington State. So could you share with us, Schwabe and its practice areas and how important it was to you when you were looking for a successor that had direct experience in the practice areas that you and your firm had developed, as you said, over the course of 40 years?
So, as I began to think about winding down my practice, I spent quite a bit of time, about a year and a half, looking at alternatives and options for doing that. Should I transfer it to somebody internally? Should we merge with a larger firm? Ultimately, to make a very long story short, we decided to merge with Schwabe, Williamson, and Wyatt, a large 175 attorney Northwest firm. That's large for the Northwest. With offices in California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, and an office in our particular community of Vancouver, Washington. After interviewing with several law firms, all of whom were interested in our practice, we decided Schwabe was the best fit because they were deep in the areas we practice, provided opportunities for the younger lawyers at Horenstein Law Group, and we're looking to grow their Vancouver office. So we actually doubled the size of their Vancouver office by taking 5 lawyers to Schwabe, and it just seemed like good synergies all the way around.
Yeah, and I agree. And I just remember it distinctly. It was a great example of growth by acquisition for Schwabe, the synergy value that HLG provided. In addition to synergies, though, we also discussed and we experienced the importance of firm culture. So could you speak to that a little bit about Schwabe's culture, how it fit and meshes with your culture? You're so committed to Clark County. I mean, I can't even, a page-long list, if not longer, would define your civic involvement in Clark County over the course of your career. And if you could speak to how the cultural fit between you and Schwabe, how that played into your decision-making as well.
Well, Schwabe, in all of its offices, is very community-minded. It's part of the firm's culture. Lawyers engaged in all kinds of things in the community, not just pro bono work, but other kinds of nonprofit work. And the list for them is also very long. They have that in their Vancouver, Washington office, but could use a boost to that. I think the profile that Horenstein Law Group and I brought to them gave them a boost in the community. I received lots of comments about what a good mix it was, for not only the reasons HLG did it, but it helped boost Schwabe's profile as well in the local community.
Great. And Schwabe welcomed not only you, but also other members of the HLG team.
Yeah.
And could you speak, Steve, to, why do you think, a firm, like you were saying, over 170 lawyers, you're certainly a tremendous rainmaker. If you could speak to the value of your team and why Schwabe, you think, took on the entire team, or not maybe the entire team, but just about the entire team when HLG joined them in the spring of 22.
So that's a good question, Jeremy. And there's really two sides to that equation. My non-negotiable was that we make a place for all of our clients and especially all of our people that wanted to come with us. So it was non-negotiable to me that it would be a package deal for everybody that wanted to come. Out of the 6 lawyers that came, only one chose to move to another smaller firm, didn't like the idea of joining big law. The others all came with us, and from day one, Schwabe knew it was all or none. It wasn't going to be just me or just a few of us.
Yep, it was
and
very
they
admirable.
got it. They needed more horsepower in their Vancouver office, so it wasn't a hard sell.
Wonderful. And let's talk about your quality of life, right? I mean, you made it very clear during the negotiations that you weren't looking to slow down immediately. You're still practicing full time. But how, from a work-life balance, looking out, it's been over a year now since you joined Schwabe. How is your work-life balance, would you say, hopefully improved since you're no longer running your own business anymore?
Well, that's a good question. I would say it's just beginning to improve because bringing a large client base with us, it took a lot of work, both administratively to move files, and from my perspective, more importantly, to make clients more comfortable with this move. So that took quite a bit of effort over the first year plus. And just very recently, I've given Schwabe a proposal for a sort of a long-term wind down for me, which they're very comfortable with because they knew that was part of my objective going in. It's more work than I thought to make the transition with all of the people involved and such a long client list. It was quite a bit of work. And there was also more work than I thought in shutting down the prior law firm. We're just at the tail end of that now, about 15 months later. So people going into this should do it with eyes wide open, that there's going to be a period of a lot of work. But eventually it's going to serve my purpose, and it's just beginning to.
Well, wonderful. Steve, it's great to see you. It was so great to work with you and also your long-term partner and your spouse, Cindy, and wish the both of you, your family, and your colleagues now at Schwabe all the best.
Well, likewise to you, Jeremy.